Our beloved Trailblazers have won 3 in a row.
Break them up, baby. Here we go.
Tic-tac-toe, baby. 2 against the Grizz, 1 against the Sixers last night. There was no Joel Embiid. So, didn't we talk about after the show he was probable?
He was questionable.
Yeah, it's questionable.
Thank you.
God forbid he plays twice in 4 days. You know, we don't want his body to fall apart. I get excited to see young Donovan Clingan take on an All-NBA center and an Olympian and, you know, one of the best to ever do it, Joel Embiid, and instead, no, we don't get to watch that as fans. So thanks for that, Joel Embiid.
No, we didn't, but we did get our beloved Denny Avdia back.
Yes, we did.
He came back from his back injury, maybe sooner than people thought. He finished with 26, 10, and 8.
Yeah.
And had himself a nice little efficient night, got guys involved, attacked, obviously, got 10 free throws. And I wanted to see what him and Scoot would be because Scoot's still ramping it back up. He came off the bench. He played 20 minutes. And I was really just curious what he was going to look like with Denny. And it was, I still think it's something that, like, we got to continue to monitor and watch and see it build and grow and develop because it was a little bit of Denny dribbling, and I'm not anti-Denny dribbling. It's obviously how they've had the most success for themselves. But it's Scoot in the corner, and I'm not a particularly big fan of that because I think when you watch Scoot play, what's abundantly clear is Scoot Henderson wants to set people up and get them good looks.
Yes.
And so I'll just continue to watch how Scoot and Denny play together. But last night, you had, what did you have? You had a collective 15 points from 3 from Robert Williams III and Donovan Clingan.
I mean, the only story of last night's blowout win is they just couldn't miss from 3. In specifically the third quarter, you shoot 41% as a team from 3 on 54 attempts.
Dude, like 49 in the third.
You're gonna win the game. Breaking news! If you make that, they just couldn't miss. Robert Williams hit the couple at the end of the third quarter, and you're like, Jesus, it's one of those nights where everything's falling, and those are great nights to have. Joel Embiid not playing obviously helped them a little bit as well. And I'm with you. Like, I was genuinely curious to see because remember, Denny didn't play the other night. He was out, so Scoot made his return, but we didn't get a chance to see them on the floor at the same time. And so last night was going to be the first opportunity for that. I'll just continue to reiterate how I needed after the trade deadline and nothing happened, which, again, in a vacuum, I understand. We don't need to relitigate that.
So nothing happened.
Fair. I needed a bit of an injection of life. This is going to be one of those Blazer Reddit comments that I don't make very often. I needed Scoot Henderson back. Like I needed something to keep me going and to give me another angle and another player to watch and another storyline for the rest of the year. And he's been. I know he didn't play on Saturday night. They won, but he was awesome in the first night back. And last night, there's just.
There's an energy with him.
There's an energy, dude. There's an infectious energy that he brings.
10 free throws, by the way.
He's getting to the foul line. He had multiple alley-oops. He had one to Rob. He had one to Clingan. Like, he's throwing alley-oops to guys and chest bumping them afterwards. He's cheering guys on when they make good plays. Like, there's just an energy about him that genuinely is, one, fun to watch, but two, it gives me something to be excited for the rest of the way to see what you have in him and how the rest of the year is going to go with, 30-something games remaining on your schedule. Not a ton of minutes crossover with Denny. I did notice some of that. Scoot's not a great three-point shooter. That will never be a strength of his game. And so asking him to do something without the ball in his hands is always going to, in my opinion, limit them a little bit offensively. But what I love about Scoot and what he's brought is the tempo, the pushing the pace, the grabbing it and going, finding guys, setting them up. I mean, you look on Friday night in 21 minutes, I think he had 9 assists. Last night he played 20 minutes, he had 7 assists. So he's clearly facilitating and running the offense in a way.
Should be getting more, too. Guys are just missing some open looks.
And that was a night where, they shot the ball pretty well, but he did set guys up and there weren't makes every time on the other side of it. And so you got another guy that can run an offense, you got another guy that can handle the ball, and it's been a shot in the arm for me as a fan of being excited to watch them and see what they're going to look like night in and night out.
So Tumani had a career-high 30 points. They have a season high in a quarter, 49 points. You get the 15 from 3 from Donovan and Robert Williams III.
Just could not miss in the third.
Vit Krejci still has not done anything for them. He had I think it was a 2 or maybe it was a 3. I think it was a 3. He had his 1-3 and his body, he flailed his arms up finally, I hit a shot. That's obviously really sticking with him of not having a great start since he's gotten traded here.
I feel like 25% of the time he touches the ball, it's hot potato. He catches it and immediately.
Well, he's a move-the-ball guy.
Catch, boom. Hey, who wants it? You take it. You over there.
He had a couple good setups for guys.
Yeah.
What I would say, though, in response to what you're saying is we did kind of talk about this, right? On the deadline when we joked about them not making a move or making a move, whatever that was going to be the date of the deadline, I did kind of throw out that, they're going to get Denny and they're going to get Scoot back. And I don't know. You didn't seem very, at that point in that moment, very like,
they're already
cool,
on the roster. It's not an improvement of the overall roster. It can make you better in a vacuum, sure, but it's not a move to change the structure and the foundation of the roster.
But think about, but I guess what I would say is, like, think about maybe where you were at and what you were saying on the trade deadline, right? They were losing games. Mm-hmm. We knew the Grizzlies were coming to town, so that was probably going to be wins.
Yeah.
And now think about what you're saying now, like what Scoot has done in the 2 games. And I know, like, statistically, it's not like, the whole league's noticing this. It's 12 points. It's 9 assists. It's 11 points, 12, 12 and 7, 11 and 9. It's not like it's popping, but when you watch it, it pops. That's one of those weird things where I think the numbers aren't necessarily showing the full story of him as a player coming back so far.
Agree with that, yeah.
And so I guess it's more like your takeaway the day of the deadline versus seeing a couple games with him and how, like, quickly you get kind of excited again with him out there.
I mean, the tough part about it is that Scoot coming back has been great, and it's been a lot of fun to watch. I know, again, he didn't play on Saturday. You also lost Shaden in the process. For how long?
We don't know. I don't believe we've gotten a real update on that.
There's been no update on that. And then Denny is back, and it was great to have him in the lineup last night. He seemed like he was moving a little bit better than the last time that we saw him, but what have we said the entire time with his back injury?
Back injuries can come and go.
They just linger, and it takes one fall or one hit or one bump to all of a sudden you're back to where you were at square one, and you got to miss a couple of more games. And so that's the other tough part with it right now is that Scoot coming back, you immediately lose one of your other players who, like, let's give him a ton of credit. Shaden helped carry you through a lot of these injuries that piled up in the first half of your year. You're still below 500, but his success getting it going after the opening month of the season, mainly in kind of later into November and then in December and January, he was a big part of why you were where you were at in the play-in race in the Western Conference and played some really good basketball for you. And so there's a good and there's a bad with it. It's great to have Scoot back, but it also sucks because now we don't get to see the Scoot Shaden backcourt play any minutes for the foreseeable future. We'll see how long Shaden's going to end up being out. But that's the only part of it that's a bummer for me. So maybe the tone has changed a little bit. Scoot has definitely injected some life into this. You're also a banged-up roster with a couple of guys who are longer in the tooth, if you will, and there's no guarantee that you're going to stay healthy the rest of the way. That's a difficult part with it.
Can I ask you a question that's kind of hard for me to answer?
Yeah, go ahead.
If they're healthy, what's their best 5-man lineup?
Ooh, fully healthy.
Well, not
counting
Dame,
yeah, because
right.
he's not playing this year. Obviously, Klingon at the 5.
Yeah.
Denny has to be in there. Denny and Kamara have to be in there.
Okay. And then Scoot Shaden, because what are you doing with Drew? Jeremy Grant's been playing better lately.
He has, yeah.
It's just interesting
That's
to think
a really
about
hard one to
isn't it?
answer.
Like, what would a closing lineup even look like there? And if you had Scoot on the court with Denny, like you did a couple times last night. This seems so odd to say because Denny's the all-star. But, like, so Scoot's just going to the corner?
And he's just not handling the ball? Well, that's the other tough part, too.
That's what I want to see is, can that develop? Can there be a development of Scoot running it, which I think is clearly their best option?
I tend to agree.
But
it's hard to say because how good Denny's been this year, but I agree with you.
I know, that's the thing is Denny's been really good in it, too. He got 8 assists last night. But Scoot just feels like the natural kind of generator of it versus like what's Denny off ball versus Denny with the ball. Shaden would find a way. We know Tamani would just find an open spot and get ready to pull up.
I trust Denny more off the ball than I do Scoot off the ball.
That's kind of what I'm getting at is like that's what I want to keep watching to see if that happens is to see the evolution of that.
Well, I think it also highlights and this is where some of the frustration comes in still from the deadline. Scoot is back, which is great. He's going to be on a minutes restriction for how long, right? How long do we foresee him? Probably only playing 20 to 25 minutes. It's a hamstring injury. You want to be careful with it. I totally get it. Not going to play in every game. You got a back-to-back. Like their next 2 games are back-to-back. He's not going to play in the second one. But if this continues, now again, it's a small sample size. It's 2 games, so we got to see where this looks in a couple of weeks from now. But if he continues to play well and really efficiently in his 20, 25 minutes a night, we just keeping him on the bench the rest of the year? Number 3 overall pick from 3 years ago and essentially a contract year. We're just bringing him off the bench for 37-year-old Drew Holiday?
So, well, I think in that case you would put Jeremy on the bench.
Okay, so then your starting backcourt is Drew and Scoot who can't shoot. Then who handles the ball? So now you're asking Drew, Scoot, or Denny, 2 of them at any. I'm not saying he can't shoot, but that's not his biggest asset to a team. What's his 3-point percentage on the year?
I actually don't know where he's at. 35?
He's averaging 14 a game.
Yeah. He was 50% last night.
36%.
36 is good.
Not terrible.
I wish Shaden was 36.
You take 36, sure.
I wish Scoot was 36.
Denny's 35
Yeah.
on the year, and Scoot's only played 2 games, so I'm not going to use it.
Okay, but you're getting back to my point of the 5-man, right? Not that starting and not starting makes or breaks everything for a team. So in that scenario, if Scoot gets all the way healthy and the minutes restrictions lifted and he can play in back-to-backs after the All-Star weekend,
right.
Jeremy's already been on the bench, so that wouldn't be a hard transition if you indeed wanted to see Scoot in the starting lineup. And then I would ask you, does Shaden, when Shaden comes back, is Shaden
who's
off
on the bench
with Jeremy, or does Drew go to the bench? That's what
highlighting the logjam.
That's what I'm kind of curious about is how Tiago would manage that.
Yeah, one of the things that I saw somebody bring up the other day, and I thought it was a great point on Scoot, because he's going to be my focal point for the team. Like, they're going to win games, they're going to go ups and downs. I don't think the overall trajectory of the season has changed, right? You beat Memphis, who's openly tanking, and you beat Philadelphia, who didn't have their best player, and you shot nearly 50% from 3. Like, those games are going to happen when you just get hot.
Yeah, outside of that third, you really weren't, like, stellar.
No, they were down by 10 at one point in the second quarter, and you're like, and then they found their way back in. You're tied. So, they weren't bad. They still had a chance to win, but you also didn't have the best player on the floor for the other team. But one of the things that I saw brought up with Scoot was the idea of, let's not forget some of the comments that he made last year about the head coach at the time. And how when Chauncey Billups missed a couple of games, I can't remember what the whole backstory was, but you had Scoot playing in a little bit of a different role, and he talked about, remember after the game, it's nice to not just go stand in the corner. I'm being used a little bit differently. And so that's something that's lingered in my mind since the Chauncey Billups stuff popped off early in the year. After one game and you realize you're not going to have a head coach for the rest of the season, of how differently you can split or use him, how much does that change his game and his confidence level to have maybe somebody else calling the shots that believes in him a little bit more, gives him different opportunities? But the bigger issue that I will have the rest of the way is just if Shaden comes back, which I hope he does and is healthy, if Scoot stays healthy, which I hope that he is, the logjam of minutes and where they go for a team that's clearly not winning anything of significance this year, but still in the area of developing your guys. And I'd love to see Scoot eventually get the pathway for a longer runway to play more minutes and have a bigger role if this continues.
Fun to watch them last night. Third quarter was great, and Scoot continued. He's just fun. I think you said it right. I'm
just rooting for him, dude. I want that guy to be good.
Energy and happiness, it just seems contagious. Seems really fun to get a lob from him or get a nice pass from him and hit an open shot. He seems just as excited as you hitting the shot as he would himself.
Dude, he is...
So.
He is a throwback point guard. The aesthetics of Scoot Henderson are so cool.
Yes, I agree.
The afro, the one wristband. Yeah. He's a point guard from 1994.
Dude, he's a truck.
He's Rod
too,
Strickland,
man.
and he's big, he's physical, he's going to the hoop more aggressively.
Yeah.
Like I'm rooting like hell for that guy, man.
All right, Blazers win. Their next game is tomorrow. They got the Minnesota Timberwolves on the road. Are they back home for Utah?
No,
they're
roadie.
at Utah. Okay,
back to back at Minnesota at Utah,
and then Utah is their last game before the All-Star weekend.